Today, we're looking at how we made that opening sky nebula mass thingy using particle illusion from VFX, who is our partner on today's episode. And the reason I'm so excited about this is because you can get it right now for free. It's free. And as you all know, free is my favorite color.
Yeah, well, put a pause there. A quick cue. What color is free?
Let me ask you a question, Josh. What color is money?
I hate where this is going already. Green.
Exactly. And that makes free clear.
Okay, that
right.
made about as much sense as I thought it was going to.
And particle illusion is a powerful particle generator letting you create tons of different effects quickly and easily, or choose between thousands of ready-to-use presets. You can buy it as a Premiere filter for your software, as part of the VFX Continuum suite of plugins, or as a free standalone application. And the free version is what we use to make that opening. Link to the plugin in the notes below. But in here, you can instantly see thousands of presets to choose from. You can honestly spend hours going through and playing with them. And they really do cover a wide variety of needs, like anywhere from magical effects to pyro and smoke, HUD elements for any technology or sci-fi visuals, as well as motion graphics. And speaking of my favorite color, you can also download the free 2021 Emitter presets, which have a lot of really nice designs and utilize new features such as connecting lines between particles for geometric MoGraph styles. Each preset lets you dive in and alter the settings to your liking to really customize a final design. And as you can see here, we can control things such as the life, emitter number, size, velocity, turbulence, and so on. It's very easy to change the original look to something more unique for your project if needed. One of the new features that we really love is to be able to go from 2D to 3D, letting you orbit the camera around the emitter or animate the position and rotation in 3D space, which can definitely be useful for moving shots or to show emitters from multiple angles. And not only that, but you can also place forces and deflectors in multiple positions, angles, and scale around an emitter to alter the look and drive it in different directions or patterns. These options really open up the chance to be creative and hone in on a custom look like we did with that opening sky effect. And it was surprisingly easy to create this. Firstly, because we shot in 4K, we're going to go into Particle Illusion's project setting and change dimensions and frame rate to match. It can go all the way to 8K if needed, which is great. And this is where you can also alter the duration of the project as well. There are a few emitter presets which we thought could work well for this kind of magical nebula mass, and we played around with a few until we decided on using Sunfire 02 emitter for the main body of the effect. Click anywhere in the comp window to add the emitter to the project. All of these settings are just going to be to our liking, and it's really all about tweaking until you get a result that you're happy with. So feel free to opt for different values than we're showing right here. Under properties, you can dial through things such as number points and random seed to find a shape design you like. We'll change the color to get away from that fire look and increase the tint strength. Try different colors to see what works for you, but we liked a purpley pink tone. For this next part, we just tweaked most of these values in different directions to see how they would affect the emitter. Some changes are more subtle, while others, such as the number value, can drastically change the entire look. Size and position turbulence is a great one for diverting from a more uniform looking shape, and the turbulence field dropdown can give you further controls. You can then dive deeper into separate controls for different elements depending on the emitter. For example, this emitter has 3 different elements which you can disable if you just want certain parts to be visible. And like before, each of these contain the similar controls and then some to customize, so feel free to just go through each one, see how they affect the overall look, and dial it into your style. The plugin version allows you to import footage and composite inside of Particle Illusion directly, but if you're using the standalone version, you can render out your project for compositing later in your go-to software. Click the render button and you'll see multiple formats and preset options, as well as the ability to export with alpha. Once you've titled it and select your destination, start your render, which goes surprisingly quick. For the next shot, we wanted it to rotate as if it's folding over itself as it expands. To do this, make sure the project is set to 3D, then you have a few camera options. We'll choose orbit, and as you see, changing the values for spin and tumble will rotate the emitter in 3D either vertically or horizontally. To keyframe this, just select a control, and then on the frame you want to start at, click this red button to add a keyframe, then move forward and change the control value. And you can keyframe any of these controls, which is how you can control an emitter's position motion to follow a pattern, for example. Once we're happy, we will render this out too. And if you want to use forces and deflectors, you can add them from here. A force effect creates a box, and depending on how you position, rotate, and scale it, the results will be different. You can also control when you want it to start in the timeline. In the settings, you can also change the strength, direction, and angle. This can be really useful for manipulating a motion path for emitters to animate in interesting ways, or also work more realistically as wind, which works nicely for things like smoke and fog. A deflector appears as a line, and you can position it in different angles or sizes. This will deflect or block the emitter. The cool thing is you can add multiple forces or deflectors at once to guide an emitter into different directions or patterns.
Logo.
My road reel is back, and you all know what this is, the annual short film competition from our friends at Rode. And for the third year in a row now, I'm going to be returning as one of the judges as well. And this year, Rode is giving away a staggering $250,000 cash prize, plus tons of other awesome cash and filmmaking gear prize packs. To enter, you will submit a 3-minute short film. Entries are open now and close October 20th. And every year, this competition brings in some incredible talent and a community to show your work to. It's a fantastic way to get motivated and finally tell that short story that's been in your head. So go to myroadreel.com for more information on how to get involved, and check the notes for some links that can help you get started on your film. For our project, we wanted an extra element, especially for the opening appearance of the sky effect, so we ended up using Explode Cloud 5, only changing the zoom and random seed values to get this, and then rendered it out. For compositing, we will be using Adobe After Effects and the renders that we exported. For this first shot, we have this cloudy sky. First, we're going to drop in the Explode Cloud 5 render in the center and use a hue and saturation effect to shift the colors toward purple and lower the saturation a bit. To get rid of this dark border, set the layer blending mode to screen. To make it feel like it affects the sky as it expands, we're going to use a distortion effect on an adjustment layer beneath the emitter. There's a ton of distortion and displacement effects that you can use, which we've mentioned in past episodes, but for this we're going to be using the Boris FX Distort from their Sapphire Effects plugin collection. Selecting the Explode Cloud 5 as the lens and altering amount as well as the blur to get this expanding ripple effect. Next, we'll add the first Sunfire 2 render, setting the blending mode to screen and changing the position, scale, and rotation to fit more with the emitter below. Then we just add another adjustment layer above everything using a glow effect with a subtle pink color, then another layer with a LUT to grade. For the wider shot, we just have this footage of Josh in the street, and after replacing the sky, which we've covered how to do sky replacements in old episodes, we'll put a link for that below, we're going to drop in the 3D rotating render, and we trimmed it to our favorite area, rotated it 90 degrees, and just slowed down the speed a bit with frame blending enabled. To feel more as if it's expanding or growing closer, we just keyframe position and scale. For some extra elements around the sides, we rendered out V-Bloom Murky Emitter and placed one on the lower left with the layer set to screen. Then again, using hue and saturation plus 2 copies of the curves effects to make it match that pinky purple tone. Then duplicate this layer and reposition it to the lower right, sliding it in the timeline to look different rather than rendering out an alternate version. We then pre-comp these together and then set them to screen, using this as a map for the distortion effect below the clouds. We also use a subtle pink light sweep on Josh for some light reaction, and used a couple of our lens stock footage assets tinted to match. After a glow and a LUT layer, again, the shot is done. For the eye shot, we found a lot of different emitter presets which could work great for the eye effect, and we decided to use Energy Vortex 1A, which has a sort of Milky Way galaxy look, and we just enabled motion blur and altered a couple settings slightly, like the zoom, spin, and changing the size over life keyframes before rendering. For compositing, we tracked both of Josh's eyes and created a null for each one. Then we dropped in the render and set the blending mode to screen. Scale and position over the eye, then link to the corresponding null. We used hue and saturation to tint it similar to the sky effect, and a curves effect keyframe to get brighter over time. We're going to roto to keep it within the eye area and keyframe the mask throughout the shot if needed. Then we're going to duplicate and place over the other eye, swapping to that eye's corresponding null layer. And of course, we're going to alter the mask accordingly. Once again, ending with a glow, LUT, and lens effects. And again, there's so many different presets that would work. Here's how some of those other emitters would look inside of that sort of shot. It gives it different vibes and could work for superpowers or possession. So obviously, this is just scratching the surface of the amount of uses that you can get out of this. Even just browsing the presets is an easy way to get inspired for certain effects, such as creating a glowing magical orb or these energetic cord looking things from DNA Trail 2 preset made us think of a type of possession scene, which was really quick and easy to composite along with the emitters Shimmer Glow Ray 3 and Smoke Cloud Glow 1 tracked to the mouth, giving us this interesting look. So definitely check out Particle Illusion. They have just released their latest version, which also includes this node editor, making it a lot easier to navigate through the control options, and clicking off of the nodes gives you access to the camera options like we showed earlier. And like I said earlier, we did partner with Boris FX for this episode, so if you do want the beefy upgrade version, check the link in the notes below and use the coupon code FilmRiot-PI at checkout for 15% off of Particle Illusion, Continuum Particle Unit, and Continuum. And of course, if you aren't subscribed, hit that subscribe button and click the bell so you're notified when we put out new content. And until next time, don't forget to write, shoot, edit, repeat.